Glad to have you with us here on Seahawks Today. Tyler Jones here, and we got a loaded show on tap. JSN already off to a strong start to 2024. We will let you hear what Mike Macdonald had to say, as well as JSN, about his expectations for this upcoming season coming up in just a matter of moments. Also, ESPN has revealed their offseason grade for Seattle. We will react and let you hear directly from what the mothership had to say coming up in just a bit. Before we do, the comment battle continues all month long between Seahawks Today and the 49ers Report. You can see it's very close between the two. We got about a 12-comment lead. We're trying to see who can come up with the most comments this month. So here's what I want to do, folks. Shout out your favorite Seahawks player of all time. There are no wrong answers here, folks. I want to see whoever your favorite player is as many times as possible in the chat. Show them some love, and we'll get started here on today's show. It is year number 2 for Seahawks wide receiver Jaxon Smith-Njigba. And what does he have for an encore? Will he take a big step up? Will it be a sophomore slump? Or will it be more of the same? So far, everything we've heard from the media reports to the coaching staff to his teammates, JSN is already rocking and rolling to begin the 2024 campaign. And JSN talked about where he's headed going into year 2, saying this to ESPN. I felt like it was a good foundation. I can grow from it. A lot of growing pains, a lot of ups and downs, but kind of similar from first years of college and at high school, kind of the same thing. Now, what we've heard out of OTAs and minicamps was that Geno Smith's top target was not Tyler Lockett, it was not DK Metcalf or Noah Fant, it was JSN, and that they had a natural connection, and JSN was taking some huge steps forward. And I think that can translate to the football field, where JSN can be the go-to guy for Geno Smith, that he can play a significant role in this offense. And one guy that is already in JSN's corner is his head coach, Mike Macdonald. Even though Macdonald's a defensive guy, he has spent a lot of time over the last few weeks talking about JSN. Here's what he said most recently. JSN's a great player, and we're expecting big things out of him. He's had a great offseason, works his tail off. His practice habits are awesome. Moving ability is pretty elite. I think we got a really good plan for him. He has been high on JSN, and JSN has looked the part to this point, proving his coach right. And when you got a defensive coach saying good things about you like that, you're doing something. And Macdonald also continued on JSN, saying he's a guy that we can focus our offense around, along with other guys. Sounds like they got some big plans for JSN going forward. And for me, when we look schematically speaking, I think we can expect to see more of JSN on the outside and put Tyler Lockett kind of in the slot receiver role, if you will, and give JSN more opportunities to get down the field and make big plays as far as that goes. According to ESPN Stats and Info, get this might surprise some people. JSN lined up on the outside on 38 of 63 of his catches in 2023, more than half. He was at his best when he was on the outside, and most notably, that touchdown catch he had against the Philadelphia Eagles to win that big game on Monday Night Football, he was lined up on the outside. JSN also feels comfortable with being on the outside more. He said this as far as his offensive role goes. Being on the outside, I feel like it's more of a one-on-one matchup. And I love one-on-one matchups. Being on the inside, there's some one-on-one matchups, a lot of zone and just reading the defense and sitting in the zone, which I feel I'm pretty good at. But when it's one-on-one or being on the outside, it's more playground a little bit. And that's what I like. I like the challenge there. So JSN embracing that challenge. He feels like he's the man for the job. And when you look at the receiver room in Seattle, you can see that you got DK there, Tyler Lockett and JSN also a part of the fold here. I would expect by the time this season starts, they flip. Lockett is going to be your primary slot guy. JSN is going to be an outside receiver for the most part. And he's got a solid foundation to build upon from last year. 63 catches, only a few less than what we saw from DK Metcalf, but DK was lined up on the outside all season. So if JSN is lined up on the outside, then you would have to think his numbers have a chance to really skyrocket this upcoming season and see a big year from the Seahawks wideout. Do you believe in Jaxon Smith-Njigba? Is he going to take that next step and become a premium receiver in the National Football League? It's our pinned comment today. Let us know what you think. Y for yes, in for no. Weigh in the comments section and chime in. Seahawks Today is the best place to go for daily Seattle Seahawks coverage on YouTube. We're bringing you news and rumors, live shows not just once but twice a week, interactive Q&A mailbags, and we're bringing Madden Sims to you for every single Seahawks game of the 2024 campaign. We are just three subs away from 52,500 subscribers on the channel. Subscribe now. Join the family of 12s. Let's keep the momentum going into the 2024 season. Sub for Seahawks dubs. The more subs we get, the more games the Seahawks win. That's how it works. Subscribe now for free. Join the family. Let's shift gears now to off-season grades as ESPN's Seth Walder graded the Seahawks off-season moves along with the other 31 teams across the National Football League. And the grade that he gave for the Seahawks was a B, and this is all-encompassing. This includes the new head coaching hire of Mike Macdonald. This includes the draft, trades, free agency, and everything. And we know the Seahawks were kind of strapped for cash, right? They didn't have a ton of money to spend, especially after re-signing Leonard Williams. So that kind of limited what they could really do this offseason. So a B grade with the limitations, you'll take that. Here's the offseason recap. According to ESPN, the biggest move was hiring Mike Macdonald as the new head coach. The most liked move was sticking with Geno Smith at quarterback. The most disliked move was re-signing Leonard Williams at $21.5 million. Now, my reaction to ESPN's analysis there, personally, I liked drafting Byron Murphy more than I did sticking with Geno Smith. Sticking with Geno was the right call, but that's the move I like the most, of getting a guy that is going to be your enforcer inside for many years to come. Geno is only going to be around for so much longer, right? Now, where I disagree is the idea about Leonard Williams and an overpay. I know it was expensive, but Leonard Williams was the best player on the Seahawks defense in the second half of last year. These are his prime years. He is a key piece of this defense. And once you made that trade for Leonard Williams last year, there was no going back. You couldn't just let him walk in free agency after you gave him a second and fifth round pick. You knew exactly what you were doing. You had to stick to it. So I am all in favor of Leonard Williams getting that money and keeping him around. How would you grade the Seahawks off-season so far? A, B, C, D, or F? Do you agree with ESPN of that B grade? Do you think it was better like an A, or do you think it was worse, C, D, or F? Weigh in the comment section. Let us know what you think. Speaking of Byron Murphy jerseys are on sale now at chatsports.com/Murphy. He's going to wear the number 91, so just add a 9 to that 1 there. And go see for yourself, chatsports.com/Murphy. Free shipping available on these jerseys, men's and women's options, all sorts of different shapes and sizes. Also got different looks to the jerseys, the blues, the whites. Go see for yourself. Chatsports.com/Murphy. Free shipping. Link is in the comments and description of today's video. All right, let's go more in depth on what Seth Walder had to say about the Seahawks and their offseason. Starting with Mike Macdonald, Walder said the following. Predicting coaching performance is tricky because I usually avoid, but if I'm picking a new coach, one attribute I absolutely want is someone who has shown they can generate schematic success. Macdonald fits that bill. It was kind of an unconventional hire for the Seahawks too, right? The expectation was they would go with someone they're familiar with, like a Dan Quinn, right? They go young, they go defense, a guy with a ton of energy that is doing things a lot different than what we saw previously in the Pete Carroll era. And when you talk about defense, as far as that defensive pedigree goes, of knowing what you're talking about, Macdonald had the numbers to back it up with what he did in Baltimore last year, with the number one defense in the National Football League in opponents' points per game, fourth in opponents' yards per game, first in opponents' points per play, first in fourth down conversion rate, first in touchdowns per game. If Mike Macdonald can bring that mentality and bring the wizardry that he did in Baltimore to this Seahawks defense, which everything we've heard is that this defense is going to be totally different schematically with mixing up 3-4 and the 4-3 and the different looks they're going to give these offenses, then watch out. This defense should be drastically improved. All right, let's talk Geno Smith now. And this is what Walter had to say as far as keeping Geno Smith around. The Seahawks are sticking with Smith at quarterback, which was the correct choice. Even though he's not a long-term solution, Smith is better than any realistic veteran alternative for the Seahawks. And there were no worthy QBs available by the time Seattle picked in the first round of the draft. Smith also had a bargain contract costing just $22.5 million in cash in 2024. He was 14th in QBR last season. Geno's the right guy for now. Sam Howell's not the guy. Geno's the better option at quarterback. And when you look back at the draft, the Seahawks picking at 16, we know that they liked J.J. McCarthy and Michael Penix and Bo Nix. They've said so themselves. John Schneider said publicly just a couple of weeks ago. But they were anticipating that all those guys weren't going to be available at 16, and it was going to cost too much to trade up. They made the right call for now, sticking with Geno as their guy. He's coming off a season where he was pretty decently accurate, 64.7%. Over 3,600 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 9 picks. I think he can build off that and have a much better year in 2024 with this new offensive scheme and the weapons that are around him. Now the move that ESPN did not like, and that was re-signing Leonard Williams. Listen to this from Seth Walder. Williams is a good player. His wins rates were near positional averages last season, being paid like a great one. This move is even less necessary in retrospect after the team used its first-round pick on defensive tackle Byron Murphy II. Seahawks had no choice. They had to pay Leonard Williams. When you made that trade, you were making your mind up. You were going all in on keeping Leonard Williams long-term. And now what you've done with adding Leonard Williams, with adding Byron Murphy, is that defensive line that was at one point in time a weakness has become a strength. And credit where credit's due to Leonard Williams, that not only is he good at getting after the quarterback, but he is very solid in run defense. And that's something that the Seahawks desperately have needed over the last couple of seasons. So for me, I disagree. I think bringing back Leonard Williams was the right call. What has been your favorite move from the Seahawks this offseason? Was it re-signing Leonard Williams? Was it hiring Mike Macdonald? Was it drafting Byron Murphy? Weigh in. Tell me in the comments section what your favorite move was. Follow me on X at Tyler Jones Live for continuing Seahawks coverage, and we will see you next time right here on Seahawks Today.